You know, some people search their entire lives for treasure. Me? I found mine in a forgotten barn on a Tuesday afternoon. This 1986 Royal Enfield Bullet had been sitting here for God knows how long, dust so thick you could write a novel in it. But here's the thing about abandoned motorcycles. They tell stories. See that? One swipe across the tank and you can already see the original paint fighting to survive underneath decades of neglect. My grandfather always said, a bike that survives this long wants to be saved. And brother, this one was screaming for help. Listen to that sound, those flat tires scraping across the barn floor. This bike hasn't rolled in probably 15 years. But you know what's wild? The frame's still solid. That's British engineering from the 80s for you. Built in India, but designed with that stubborn British spirit that refuses to die. Getting it onto the truck was like moving a piece of history. 350 pounds of rusted potential. My buddy Jake said I was crazy, that's a parts bike at best. But I made him a bet right there on that ramp. This bike would run again within 60 days, or I'd buy him dinner for a month. And here we are, home. My workshop. This is where the magic happens, where rust and despair become chrome and hope. I've restored 12 bikes in this garage, but something about this Royal Enfield felt different. Maybe it was the way the afternoon light hit that tank, or maybe I'm just sentimental. Walking around it for the first time under proper light, man, it was worse than I thought. Surface rust everywhere, missing bolts, cracked rubber, corroded wiring. But here's what most people don't understand about restoration. It's not about fixing what's broken, it's about discovering what survived. The tank was the heartbreaker. Look at that oxidation, eaten through in places, paint bubbling like a diseased landscape. My mentor once told me, a fuel tank is a motorcycle's soul. If the soul's corrupted, you're starting from scratch. Luckily, this soul still had fight in it. The seat tells you how a bike was loved, or wasn't. These cracks, this torn leather exposing foam that's turned to dust, this bike spent its last years outside, whether beaten and forgotten. Someone gave up on it. But that foam? That's replaceable. Giving up? That's not. Now these tires, completely shot. You can see the fabric cords, the sidewalls split so deep you could lose your finger in there. Dry rot this severe means this bike sat stationary for years. That's actually worse than riding it hard. Motorcycles are meant to move, sitting still kills them slowly. The engine block, coated in decades of oil, road grime, and pure neglect. But underneath all this crud is a 350 cubic centimeter single-cylinder workhorse. The same basic design that's been thumping along since the 1950s. Simple, reliable, and nearly indestructible. That's why I knew this one would come back. This chain is seized solid, completely frozen. Every link is locked in place by rust and old grease turned to concrete. Most people would throw it away immediately. Me? I keep them as reminders. Reminders that even when something seems completely dead, sometimes you can bring it back. Time to wake this beast up. First step in any restoration, remove the lies. And dirt is the biggest liar. It hides what's really wrong, and what's really right. Watch how that pressure washer reveals the truth underneath 30 years of riding and a decade of sitting. Hand scrubbing the tank with proper degreaser, this is meditation for me. Circular motions, watching the soap do its work, revealing more of the original surface. You can't rush this part. Restoration isn't about speed, it's about respect. Respect for the machine and the hands that built it. Heavy-duty degreaser on the engine block, watch it foam and fizz as it eats through that oil. This chemical reaction right here, it's like watching time reverse. Every layer of grime that dissolves is another year going backward, getting closer to the day this bike rolled off the assembly line. Wire brushing the chrome, this is where you learn patience. Too aggressive and you scratch the plating. Too gentle and the rust wins. It's a dance. My father taught me this technique when I was 14, working on his Triumph. Let the brush do the work, he'd say. Your job is just to guide it. scrubbing down the frame tubes, getting into every crevice, every joint. This is archaeology with soap and water. Each section cleaned reveals the bike's history, scrapes from crashes, paint worn smooth from riders' boots, weld marks from factory hands in 1986. Spoke by spoke, that's how you clean wheels properly. 64 spokes per wheel, and each one gets individual attention. This is where most restorers cut corners. Not me. You want to know why? Because the rider before you didn't cut corners when they trusted their life to these wheels. Getting into the tight spots now, bolt heads, panel gaps, every hidden corner where dirt likes to hide. This little brush right here? It's been with me for 8 years. Worn down, bristles splayed out, but it reaches places my fingers can't. Tools become extensions of yourself in this work. Compressed air, the restorer's best friend. Blasting water out of every crevice, every blind hole where moisture could hide and start rust growing all over again. Listen to that whistle as air screams through the engine fins. That's the sound of prevention, stopping problems before they start. Final dry with microfiber, this is where you truly see what you've got. The clean metal, the surviving chrome, the battle scars that have earned their place. This bike is clean for the first time in probably 20 years. And now? Now the real work begins. Disassembly starts with the seat. 2 bolts, simple as that. But here's the thing about taking a motorcycle apart, every bolt you remove is a promise. A promise that you'll remember where it goes, how it fits, and that you'll make it better when it goes back together. Lifting the seat off reveals the electrical nightmare underneath, corroded connectors, frayed wires, ancient fuses that have probably saved this bike from burning down more than once. This tool tray hasn't seen daylight since Reagan was president. Time to change that. Tank mounting bolts, 4 of them holding the fuel supply in place. Each one turns reluctantly, threads corroded but still holding. I always mark these bolts, remember which hole they came from. Old mechanics taught me, what came apart in a certain way, goes back together the same way. Opening the petcock, draining out fuel that's probably older than some of you watching this. Look at that color, dark, varnished, completely degraded. This isn't gasoline anymore, it's basically lacquer. This is why bikes that sit become so hard to revive. Fuel turns to glue. Lifting the tank off is always a moment of truth. What's underneath? Is the frame solid? Are the wiring harnesses intact? This is like opening a time capsule. Everything under here